I'll help you be popular. You'll hang with the right cohort. You'll be good at sports. Know the slang you've got to know. So let's start, because you've got an awfully long way to go.
Not since Vera Charles and Mame has there been a more deliciously contentious female friendship on Broadway. It's being played by two of the top actresses in the musical theater, and we're very pleased to have them with us.
These are two terrific young actresses on Broadway, and they have really meaty, juicy roles for women in the musical theater, which is something you don't really see very often on Broadway. We are joined tonight by Idina Menzel, who plays the bad witch, Elphaba, in the new Broadway musical Wicked, and her partner in crime, Kristin Chenoweth, always a Broadway favorite, who plays the good witch, who maybe not isn't so good in Wicked.
Exactly.
Welcome to Theater Talk. What I said, I think, is kind of true. It just strikes me a brilliant observation I'm making. They don't really write great roles for women on Broadway these days, so you must have been thrilled to get something like this coming your way.
Definitely. It was one of the things that attracted me to the piece, frankly, you know, because I loved Thelma and Louise and those kind of strong movies for women. And also, you know, you have two girls here who are very, very different that are attracted to each other and want what the other has but love each other. And it was just a great journey as I read the script, and I thought there has not, you know, we're used to Gypsy and Annie Get Your Gun, but this is, you know.
Sort of broad, brassier kind of musical comedy characters, but both of these characters have layers and complexity to them and change as the show goes on. And we should say that Wicked is the, what would you call it?
The backstory.
The backstory in the fancy Hollywood parlance. The prequel, whatever it is, to the Wizard of Oz that we know. And we see the good witch, Galinda, and the bad witch, Elphaba, as they're growing up. And they're friends.
And with all due respect, there's shades of Billy Burke from the movie in what you do, but there is none of Margaret Hamilton in you, Idina. You are coming in from a completely different direction. You played at your school, we'll say school chums, as the two witches, and then they grow together and grow apart. And
well, I think, you know, when I grew up watching the movie, I thought, even as a child, I thought, God, there's something wrong with that Glinda woman. It's just not real. And I didn't set out exactly to emulate her, but I did like the way she was sort of plastic. And what I wanted to do was, you were talking about the layers, I wanted to show really what's going on there, and that I sort of do a pageant girl. That's what I think of. And I have plenty of friends to draw on.
It's the molten lava under the plastic.
Absolutely.
And your character, we see, of course, the Wicked Witch of the West, but in this in this play, it shows us wicked maybe in the eye of the beholder. In fact, it's the society that is wicked around her and has branded her as evil because she has the power to bring the society down.
Very well said.
This is why I'm a highly respected columnist with the New York Post. Did you draw, though, on anything at all in The Wizard of Oz and Margaret Hamilton at all? I mean, the character does have a little bit of a cruelty to her. I mean, she's capable of...
Yeah, well, I mean, eventually, you know, you get kicked down enough. You start to really believe what people say about you, and, you know, if you're going to... If she sort of owns her wickedness.
You do her laugh, too.
Yeah, I felt like the laugh was a good, place to sort of show, as a young girl, the boisterous laugh that comes from joy with her friend, or you know, in just an organic place, and then how that sort of can become misconstrued as a cackle. And so I, paid attention to what Margaret Hamilton did, and then tried to just find my own ways of bringing some of that stuff and making them come from real places.
You just can't imagine Margaret Hamilton singing a sexy love song with her.
Well, you can't imagine Margaret Hamilton ever looking like Idina Menzel, frankly. I mean,
frankly, that's true.
Now, I'm interested in the chemistry between you two, not just as characters, but as actors, because you really see this seldomly on Broadway. For example, Matthew Broderick and Nathan Lane have that in The Producers, and you two definitely have it in Wicked. Is this something that just sort of happens in rehearsals? Had you worked together before? Or do you come together instantly liking each other? Or is there a rivalry between you that sort of can help feed into the chemistry between you two? Who wants to win the Tony?
We met through a mutual friend. So we always kind of knew each other, but we didn't really become friends till we started working on. I got hired about 2 years ago. She got hired 3 years ago. And through a lot of readings and development of the piece, we started working together through this. So, and just the material lends itself to, I mean, you couldn't do it unless you had an adoration for one another and respect.
Absolutely.
I don't think it just wouldn't work. And like we say, or I say, a lot, you know, I'm envious of so many of her wonderful qualities, and there's just so much to learn from her on stage and off stage, and so it's been a life experience for me.
But usually, Kristin, you have a sort of history of kind of running away with the shows that you've been in the past on Broadway. You get all the great reviews, and everything around you is sort of in ruins.
It's nice to be in a show that...
well, the first time,
but this time you have someone who's your. But this time you have someone who's your match, who's getting you matching you. You know, review for review and cheer for cheer.
Yeah, it's nice. It's not...
To have to do the work yourself.
That's right. It is a team effort.
But that's what it's about. It's
Exactly.
two strong women, and
Exactly.
just
It's like Nathan
celebrating
and
that.
Matthew, you know. It's like exactly a good...
But I don't feel that my performance would be anything with. I mean, I really feel like we're two pieces of a puzzle, and the way we worked in rehearsal, and I mean, with Joe Mantello, and I mean, we've really found things through what the other has brought to the situation. And
now, it seemed to me, I saw the show in San Francisco, and your character was fairly well set, but your character went through quite a bit of rewriting and changing to coming to New York. What was lacking? You know, in San Francisco, your role was, well, you were getting a lot of laughs and had the big number popular, and yours was not quite at that level, and it's really come up that way. What happened in the process there?
I just think it's a really complex role, complex person. I mean, we have a stereotype that people come in sort of envisioning, and then we have this young girl. We just have a broad journey for her to go through, and it just took a long time to really iron out all those complexities and find all the different levels to her. She's not a purely good, righteous person, and she's not an evil person, and she just has the spectrum of many emotions and colors, and so that just took a while to take away or reshape the musical. From you take something out of Act 2, especially in our show, the littlest thing that's taken out, all of a sudden, you know, you got to go back and change it in Act 1, and
well, it's very carefully constructed
yes.
so that all the threads of the stories come together in the end for the
Exactly.
little sort of, we won't give it away,
fragile,
but the sort of tricks that come out in the end, and we figure out how everyone that we know in The Wizard of Oz got to be who they
Exactly.
On a technical level, how do you keep your energy up? I mean, this is a marathon for both of you. You sing many songs with great intensity. How do you keep that high of the...
Big paychecks from David Stone.
Yeah, that's one incentive that keeps me going. But also just keep it in the voice lessons. I mean, Idina has to belt out these major pop, you know, strong ballads. I sing everything from opera to belt to in my lower register, so that's my challenge, just to stay in shape. And I don't talk a lot during the day, except for when I'm on your show.
And you don't...
Me, I've been saying, the music is so challenging for me, but even more so, and I think for Kristin too, it's the emotional journey that our characters take. And I think that when it's the second show of the day, and it's like, whew, it's tiring. We really have to just key into one another and try to find just a couple of new things, and the audience is amazing, and that kind of keeps us going.
I do want to ask you, though, to the horse race aspect of the business. We're not at the Tony Awards yet, but it seems fairly clear that you both will be nominated. Will that change your relationship when you're in direct competition for this big award?
No.
Not at all. I'm not even honestly, I'm not thinking about that. I'm just so happy to be in a show that people stand up at the end.
That's what you said in San Francisco. We out of town tryout situation, we got standing ovations, and the very first day, the very first preview that we had an audience, she went, "Oh my God, I've never been in a show where they stood up like that before.
And after she wins the Tony, will that then change their relationship?
Oh, ouch!
Kidding, I'm kidding.
Michael Riedel!
Now, you guys are terrific in Wicked. Great new, exciting Broadway musical. Idina Menzel, the bad witch who isn't so bad. Kristin Chenoweth, the good witch who isn't so good. Just like the actress herself.
Naughty, naughty.
Thank you for being our guest.
Thank you. Thank you.
There are wonders